Hey guys, this is Market Update. An absolutely biblical level selling event is upon us. The Mt. Gox unlock finally happening after all these years, but a lot of the headlines are maybe a bit overblowing the headline figure, 9 billion. It's not going to be that much, so we'll go through how that can actually affect things right now, because when headlines come out like this, the market reacts, right? We've broken down from this price action. It doesn't look that great right now. I think we're just in a period where there's no real narrative to really push us forward. Everything is kind of negative. But if you're actually looking to accumulate BTC or other cryptos right now, then where are you going to accumulate them, right? You want to actually accumulate at low levels, considering we are still in a big bull market, right? We should have another 12 plus months of this bull market. And so when do you actually get in? When the price is pretty weak. Having said that, we'll look at the BTC price right here. You know, we've broken down a little bit. You can see there is a lot of demand around this level. Like I said in the previous video, you know, if you are trading, maybe you just take a flyer around this level, because this is the level that should be defended if it is to actually recover and not go lower. Maybe you take a small trade here, put half the trade in, knowing that, yeah, we can go a bit lower and actually bottom out. And then you put the second half of the trade in if you bottom out. If we actually recover here, then, you know, you've got some of the trade in. So that's where I see it. We're in a summer consolidation, weak price action, sellers in the market, everything like that. All of that is actually pretty good in a bull market to actually accumulate coins, right? You want to play that difference, that arbitrage between this asset that just is going up in a secular fashion and then these weak periods. Bear markets are the best, but in bull markets, these types of drawdowns are times to actually get in and accumulate, because you have that slightly longer time horizon. Rather than a few weeks, you're actually looking at a few months or a year or more. And then as a long-term investor, none of this matters, right? So we have broken down from this price action. It's not that great. You know, it's looking pretty weak right here. You can see bulls are trying to defend this. We've actually wicked up a little bit into this. This is obviously a big area for the bulls, 60K, right? But it's not looking that bullish for price action. But we'll get to the Mt. Gox stuff as well. If you do trade, though, I think it's a good time to trade. Bybit deposit bonus up to $30,000. You can just click the link. If you make a deposit and trade, you get that deposit bonus. Link down below in the description. But let's have a look at the Mt. Gox information here. So 9 billion is the headline figure. It's not going to be that much, but there is going to be some selling here. We don't know if market makers and traders in the market who are running, you know, big OTC desks have actually just sold all of their inventory to other traders are selling now in order, because they think, hey, this seller is going to come in the market next month. And so we can either take short positions or just sell all of our inventory now, knowing we actually want to buy that back. So we sell here, drop our bids, take the price down, and then buy these guys' Bitcoin when they sell at lower prices. So that's how the market works. So trading news is actually not the right thing to do, because I know from experience, having, you know, traded stocks, you know there's a seller in the market. What are you going to do? You know there's a seller. Well, you're not going to bid the price up. You're actually going to get your stock off the books, sell, drop your bids, take your bid down, price goes down, and then you're saying, hey, well, you want to sell? I know you want to sell. I'll buy your stuff right here. Well, lower price, right? So just because these guys are selling, other market participants may have pre-sold and then are looking to buy these guys' Bitcoin back at lower prices. And so that's why it's difficult to actually sell on news like this, because you really don't know how that market's positioned. People can be pre-positioning, looking to actually buy back. So when this selling comes, it may not be as bad as people think. So that's where I see it. But look, there is going to be some selling in the market from this. So that being said, if only 10% of the 65K coins are sold, that's still 6,500 Bitcoin. It is a big figure, but it's not the 9 billion figure. I'll leave this thread below as well, just to see some of the data right here. You know, Bitcoin is a very liquid asset. 6,500 Bitcoin coming onto the market. Look, it's going to drop the price. We have had that already, right? That's some of that weakness of recent, but it might not be a disaster as people think it is. Now, looking at this as well, it's important because yesterday was one of the biggest drawdown or sell days for Bitcoin. And as you can see here, to give you an image of how much net delta that was, BTC alone, we sold more than 57,000 Bitcoin, or $3.4 billion worth of Bitcoin net, the biggest sell day, right? So you're looking at one sell day. What did we go down? You know, from the highs at 70, now we're at 60. A lot of selling over the last few weeks. 57,000 Bitcoin sold net. But then this Bitcoin's a 6,500. Maybe it's 7, 8, 9. So it's actually not as big a deal as I think people are making out and the headlines are making out. But yeah, we're in a period where things are a bit weak. I think that's actually positive if you're looking to buy BTC, because I still think we're in a bull market. So important here as well is that, with Bitcoin, it is going up over time. It has been going up over time. I think that will continue. This is actually what holding Bitcoin is. These green and red days, right? Even though if you look at returns over time and smoothed out returns, everyone thinks that holding Bitcoin is like this. And if you look at your portfolio over time, if you're investing in Bitcoin, the moving average is just up and to the right. But holding Bitcoin is actually like this, right? And if you want to be active and make returns, you have to buy the asset on those drawdown days. So this is an important time for investors, because these drawdown days are actually where you make the returns, right? Where you're getting at lower prices. So that's how I see things. Not really bullish right now, but I think we just hold through this position, hold through this period, because I think the bull market towards the end of this year is probably going to reignite for Bitcoin and crypto. Short-term market dynamics are maybe a little bit distracting here because of the kind of real thesis behind BTC, which I think is fairly obvious. So I'll try and explain that. This is short-term holder realized price. So this is acting like a kind of bull market support band, right, for this whole entire bull market. Each time the price comes into this, seems to bounce. We're coming into it again. So maybe we bounce, maybe go a bit lower. The price is fairly irrelevant. I think the trend is something to be aware of. We're in a big uptrend, right, for short-term holder realized price. So new entrants coming in, pushing prices higher, desiring to accumulate Bitcoin. You can also see short-term, the RSI here, Relative Strength Index, very weak. Each time we've come into that level in this bull market has been an area for a bounce and, the next leg higher. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think the market is prepared for that yet. There's a lot of negativity. We're in that stage now still of negativity, but the bounce should come if we're in a bull market, and I think we are. Again, this is minor profitability as well. So unprofitable right now, at least for some of them. After the halving, it's less profitable to mine Bitcoin. And so maybe some capitulation there. This is all great, actually, if you're looking to accumulate Bitcoin in a bull market, right? You're looking for those weak periods, and we're definitely in one, which, isn't a bad thing as long as you're not trading over 2 week periods with 50x leverage. So again, here's stablecoin supply, just looking maybe to topping out a little bit. So again, if you have more stablecoins, ready to deploy, that's a good thing. If they've topped out a little bit in their ratio, we're looking for maybe new funds in to drive the next leg higher. We're not there yet. None of that is showing itself, right? You can see all of the data is showing, look, we're just in a weak period where the market's kind of made its move, priced itself, and now we're just waiting for maybe that next period, which I would say probably towards the end of this year. I think it's important to really, all of the narratives don't really matter. Bitcoin's it's still early stage, and it's in a huge monetization phase and adoption phase. That's all we need to know, right? So if you just have some sort of long time horizon, that's it. Michael Dell tweets, scarcity creates value. Bitcoin is digital scarcity, and then Michael Dell reposted that. If these guys, are getting in and seeing the benefits of BTC, I think it's big news. Now, Michael Saylor has it part of his, balance sheet now. Michael Dell doesn't, Dell Computer doesn't, but in the future you might see it. I think it takes a lot longer. These guys are probably doing it on their personal side, and the business side is a different animal altogether. But look, it's getting adopted and people see the benefits of it, and I just think that continues, right, for the next decades ahead until it reaches maturity. We just have a lot of data and time to churn through, I think, before we get any real next narrative push, because what's coming on the horizon is the economic data eventually showing that, a big slowdown is taking place. These are leading economic indicators. Each time they do show this negativity, has been a recession before, the 2000 recession, 2008. So look, not great news, right? This isn't great news for all of us or for the economy or for our earnings or job prospects or anything. It's not great news. And so, why bid up assets? Well, it's the reaction from that, right? It's the fact that the US is already running a 6 or 7% budget deficit now. And so if the recession comes, that grows wider, right? So the current deficit of 1.7 trillion is 7% of GDP, right? In the global financial crisis and during COVID, it was 4 and 10% deficit, right? A deficit of 5.4 trillion would be a 21% share of GDP. So the numbers are staggering here. Debt increased by 785 billion in Q1, but we got 300 billion in return of GDP, right? So that's 35 cents on the dollar in terms of return on debt. So it can actually go on a lot longer. I mean, you're still getting a positive return, so why not keep going? But essentially, the debt has to be paid, and it's not being paid by tax receipts. And so it will be socialized amongst all participants that hold the fiat by debasement in some way over time. That's the trade for BTC. That's what we're in. And it's the mass is right there for us, right? So when the Fed likes to report to you CPI, which is the yellow line, right, what you really need to beat is monetary debasement and CPI, right, which is the white line, which is normally around 8%. And actually you can see that Bitcoin does actually follow this quite well. So what should we invest in? The things that outperform and the things that are strong. So US tech, essentially. Technology is the solution to problems. So Bitcoin, 51% this year, best performing. And then you have NASDAQ and US growth, which is mostly tech, right? So gold was number 2. It's now falling off because gold ultimately isn't that desirable. The annualized return is 3% a year. You aren't keeping up with debasement and inflation. Really, it's the leading, strongest businesses or technologies that will lead you out of all of these problems. Bitcoin, US growth. Now, of course, many individual stocks have outperformed BTC, even like Nvidia this year. But for large assets that are essentially asset classes and indexes in themselves, Bitcoin is the leading. So we have to protect ourselves. These are the top performing assets to do that. And we can just use these tools to benefit ourselves. We have a lot of negativity and worry and uncertainty to get through. I actually like that position in the market. When everything is brilliant, that's the top of a bull market. That's when you should be most worried because you're going to get a drawdown. Everyone thinks everything's great and can't go wrong. That's the time to get worried. For right now, really good spot, which is some people are worried and fudding everything. I think that's a great area to be in, personal anyway. Bybit deposit bonus down in the description. The crypto investor course is getting updated at the end of this week. If you have the course, those updates are coming free for you. I'll link the course down below. I do put the price up when I update it as well, but all updates are for free for existing users. Link below. I am James with MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.